Okay, welcome back, everyone. We are simply doing our third Chinese calligraphy review session. I encourage you to join me and practice your Chinese calligraphy if you are learning at all like me. So, let's just take a look at what we learned previously. This was the second Chinese calligraphy review, and we learned quite a few characters and countries and electronics. That was cool. Let's check out our first Chinese calligraphy review. And we learned some pretty fun characters and words as well here. So, yeah, with that being said, oh, and a few more. A few more characters there on the back of this yellow sheet. So far we are at about 50 characters total, maybe a little bit more than 50. But let's practice what we have learned in the last, I want to say like 7 to 8 weeks. And as you saw, exit was part of the last one, but I put it on this review because I forgot. I simply forgot. Now, for this video, I am not going to have any fancy editing, any effects. I'm just going to write these characters in real time, kind of to encourage you to join me in practicing. I'm definitely building way better muscle memory. I felt it as I was writing for this video. Even though, if you're at all familiar with the videos that I've created in the past, you see that I'm using a paintbrush. But when I am not on camera and not making videos for YouTube, I do practice on my own time, and I use, a regular writing tool like a pen or a marker because I have a whiteboard, so I practice on the whiteboard. I've created flashcards for myself just so that I can stay, up to date and practice as much as possible, because that is the only way that you are truly going to master Chinese calligraphy. Practice, 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 because it's so foreign, It isn't like you're writing letters. You're drawing. You are drawing these pictograms, ideograms, and after a while, after you learn some characters, they start to blend together. But anyways, here I'm writing the character for toy. In a moment, I am going to zoom in so that you are better able to make out these characters. But here we have the character for toy, and I'm just letting you know I will zoom in for you. There you go. I thought it was appropriate for us to learn the character for toy because, 'tis the season. So tell me, how do you think I did? If you are at all familiar with writing in Chinese, on a scale of 1 to 10, did I do a good job? Look at the character here. And was my stroke order correct? Yes or no? Because that is something that we should definitely keep in mind as we are writing these characters. Stroke order rules are a real thing, and they will help you in building that muscle memory so that you know which stroke comes next. So stroke order rules, and sometimes I break them because I am learning, and I kind of go with what makes me feel comfortable at the time. So here we have the character for mother, or mom, mama. So you see the two characters are the same right alongside each other because that's mama. Now let's practice again. I like this character, even though it's quite a challenge, but they are all challenging. Now my OCD is kicking in and telling me to darken these strokes, but that's because I am used to writing with a paintbrush. I'm used to having more defined strokes. So if I'm writing the characters on paper and I feel like it's not right, of course I'm breaking Chinese stroke order rules and making these characters more bold. And here I am breaking out my Sharpie because I'm just like, no, that doesn't look as good as I want it to look. So let me darken it with this Sharpie. But in a moment, I will end up returning back to the pen. But I am going to go back and shade over the character for Toy as well, because I just think it looks better if it's, darker. However, look, as soon as I do this, my hand starts shaking. My hand is shaking and I've messed up the character. Now it doesn't even look like the character for Toy because the lines, the horizontal lines are not even straight. And that is definitely a problem. A problema. So I'm going to toss this Sharpie pen in a moment because absolutely not. I can't have this kind of review if it's not going to be accurate. So let's say bye-bye to the Sharpie, and you let me know, how did I do with the character for Mother? Was my stroke order accurate? Yes? No? On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate me? Let me know. Okay, so now let's get into the character for Thank You. 谢谢. This one is not an easy character at all, but once you finish writing it, it is gorgeous. Definitely one of my favorite characters. Now, I need to make sure that yes, I need to draw that line, that vertical line all the way down. So let's practice again. Well, the good thing about this character, when you say thank you, you write this character twice, just like mama. So I get to practice twice. And that way, I'll definitely nail it. And there we have it. 谢谢. Thank you. In Chinese. Really, it's more like thanks. If you want to say thank you, you just add the character for you, which we're going to review in this video as well. So let me know how you think I did. Stroke order and on a scale of 1 to 10. So let's say bye-bye to that Sharpie. Get out of here. You make me shake. Now, let's move on to the character for hand and the character for finger. I decided to put these right alongside each other because, well, finger is an extension of your hand. So really, when you write the characters for identifying your finger, you're going to use the character for hand. And look how simple that is. It's not too complicated at all. At all. So now let's get into the finger. That's a bit too short. The second character I drew it, it's not quite proportional to the first character. So we are going to practice again. But something to keep in mind is that the second character forefinger, you see how those horizontal lines, well, they're not horizontal, all of them. That J, you see, it has an upward stroke, like short stroke. So keep that in mind. Even me, I kind of forget. I'm studying now for a test that involves me writing in Chinese, and these are the small details that if I don't nail them, I'll end up writing a completely different character. So I really, really need to take advantage of as many opportunities to practice as possible. And I really encourage you as well. I encourage everyone to at least become literate. And when I say literate, there are studies out there that say if you can just learn around 100, I think it's 100, just 100 characters, you will recognize a decent amount of Chinese on websites and, just anywhere you see Chinese written. Okay, so moving on to the numbers. How cool is this? 1, 2, 3, just horizontal lines, right? Now, 4, is it a horizontal line as well? Not quite. You have your box. Oops, phone cut off. But anyways, I'm back. So check out the character for 4. Yeah, got a box and some interesting swoops and drawings on the inside. So let's practice this one once more. Little swoop to the left and kind of a right angle situation to the right. Yeah, I should practice explaining these specific strokes more, but they're like, how do you describe them? Anyways, here, the number 5 almost looks like you can write our numeric 5 on top of the Chinese character for the number 5. If you have an amazing imagination. But anyways, there we have 5. 6 is definitely not too bad, right? And done. As long as you keep each stroke from touching each other, like they're not supposed to be touching. And the number 7 looks like an upside down 7, right? Almost. Now that horizontal line should be, it needs to be kind of going upwards towards the upper right hand corner. So drawing that one again. 8 almost looks like those strokes that are inside the number 4 box. Almost, right? But not bad. And the character for 9, if you remember from a previous video, the number 9, I said it kind of looks like a person that's fallen over because they've been drinking too much. Because the way that you say the character for 9 in Chinese, in Mandarin Chinese, is jiu, which also means alcohol. Yeah, there are many meanings to jiu, but here we have the number 9. So, and 10 is just the cross. Not bad, not bad. You really just need to memorize 4, 5, and I think 9. And you've got numbers 1 through 10 in Chinese. Not too shabby, right, y'all? Yeah, I think it's not too bad. So moving on to pronouns. Now, I have learned I and you in previous videos when we practiced I love you and some other interesting characters, because like the character for money looks somewhat similar to I, or the word character for money is kind of similar to I. But here we have I, and I'm feeling very comfortable writing that one. But still, for practicing purposes, let's write it again. And there we have I. You have to excuse the background noise. Baby girl, she woke up from her nap, so she's live and she's playing with her toys. Now, you is definitely not complicated. Or, well, let me speak for myself. I just think it's a cool character. I feel like each stroke just kind of melts into the next one, so not too bad. So once we get to the character for he and she, because they are the same, this is when I struggle. I struggle with this character. And I'm certain that my stroke order is definitely wrong, but let's try it. I actually think that looks all right. Somewhat all right. And there's the OCD kicking in, telling me to make that more bold. Yeah, I'm just showing you my pen here. It's running out of ink because I've had it for a while. I used this pen while I was in China. Yeah, it's super old, but memories. So now we're going into the plural pronouns, and to make your plural pronouns, all you do is add those singular pronouns to this plural identifier. So I plus many I's, or I and other people, me and other people, will just be we, right? So there we have it. Not too bad, not too difficult. Now, same for you. You plus your plural identifier becomes you all or y'all. And finally, they just is he or she, or he and she, and your plural identifier, and you create they. And there we have it, y'all. I realized that I didn't ask for feedback in the last 3 character boxes. So we'll kind of take a look, and you just let me know how do you think I did on a scale of 1 to 10. How did I do with hand, finger, numbers, and all of those pronouns? So we are almost finished here. Let's move on to our second sheet. Not too many characters left to review, but I do want us to end with Happy New Year because it's a new year. So I hope you're right alongside me with the pen and paper and you're practicing, because this is some great practice. Now, let's begin with happy. We first learned the character for happy when we were practicing during Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving. Yes. This one is not too no, that's a lie. I think happy is quite complicated. But just take your time and write alongside me. have it. Happy. Kwaila. How did I do? How was my stroke order? How would you rate me? Let's move on to year. I think that little swoop on the left-hand side is a little bit too long, but we're going to keep going. Yeah, I believe it's just a vertical line. I was second guessing myself, like, is it a vertical line with a swoop up like a little J? Because so many of these characters that I've drawn, as you see, look like the letter J. But nope, not for year. It's just a straight vertical line. And there we have it. Done. Not too bad. How was my stroke order? I feel like that right angle stroke was not in the correct order, but how does that character look? Now, you see how fast I drew month? I think I drew it so quickly because I like it, and I like it because it's so simple. Month. And there you have it. How do you think I did? And since we're doing month and year, why not do day? Because you will see these characters when you're asked the date. Anytime, perhaps you're asked your birthday. If you are looking at a website, you'll see that. However, I also learned that day is also written like this. And this is only when you are speaking about the day, like the number, because day as in number is that character on the bottom. But if you're writing, you're going to use that one on top. Now, I didn't go over that in a previous video, but as I was preparing for this video and I was studying on my own time, I realized, oh, there's several words for day in Chinese, depending on what you're talking about. So now let's just write the date. And today is January 5th, 2021. So let's go ahead and see what that would look like if you were to write it on any official document, or any document, doesn't have to be official, right? So you put your numeric year, and then you write the character for the year, and then you put your month and the character for month, and then you write the day and the character for day. All done. There we have it. So just look out for that. If you see it, you're just being asked the date. Write down the date. Ooh, this gives me an idea. We should do the character for name next. Yes. Definitely should do the character for name, because I'm not sure what that is. I know how to say it in Mandarin Chinese, but I want to learn how to recognize it. That's the entire purpose of all of this Chinese calligraphy, is to learn how to recognize it when I see it. Because anyone who's been to Chinatown or anything like that, you feel comfortable looking at all of those products, but the moment that you start looking at the names or the language that is written on these buildings and everything, you feel like a child, because you're illiterate. You are illiterate, and I'm not okay with being illiterate, especially after having lived in China for so long. I lived there for 6 years, and I could only recognize when I would leave or when I left, I could only recognize maybe 10 characters, perhaps 20 max. And that's just a shame. It's a shame. So I want to be literate, and I really think it's important in the 21st century for people to be able to recognize more Chinese. So there we have the character for new. It's kind of a funky looking character. Even that second part of the character looks like the letter F. Almost. Now I'm boldening this part of the character because when you write this stroke, certain Chinese strokes, if you notice, especially when I'm using the paintbrush, it's thicker on one end than it is on the other end. It's like a little paintbrush stroke. It just looks very artistic, and that's why I'm going over these characters sometimes and boldening them, because I want them to look like art, because that's how they look when you write with the paintbrush. But anyways, let's end with Happy New Year. First we put new, then we put year, and you finish with happy. New Year happy is how you would write Happy New Year in Chinese. In Mandarin Chinese, 新年快乐, 新年快乐. Although the Chinese New Year is different than, our New Year here on the western side of the world. But nevertheless, there you have it. Let's try one more time. There goes my OCD again. But I'm not going to do too much. I just wanted to make sure that those strokes were connected. So I'll end this video with thanking you all for joining me for my Chinese calligraphy review session, my opportunity to practice what I have learned with Baby K right along my side. And I hope, I've encouraged someone out there to practice alongside me, encourage someone out there to take advantage of learning Chinese, at least learning how to recognize some of these characters, because ultimately you will be empowered and able to use it in ways that you maybe don't see right away, you don't see now, but in the near future, you will recognize the value in becoming literate in the Chinese language. I certainly do.